Wait, the bachelorette trip cost more than the honeymoon? $12,000 for flowers. I will literally handpick that shit myself from a field. Stop! I might cry. Average guest list is 150 people. Who are these people? I have like 4 friends. Where are you getting these people from? Amazon? Put a finger down if you've been personally victimized by the wedding industry. Fun fact, the average wedding costs, take a guess, $35,000. And in some states like California, it averages almost $80,000. I'm already stressed just looking at these numbers. How is anyone affording this? I'm 26, so a lot of my friends and coworkers are getting engaged and married, and I've watched all of them one by one rip their hair out and deplete their savings over something that's in theory supposed to be a really happy moment. So if you've spent $2,000 on a bachelorette party or cried over wedding guest list drama, you're not alone. We're all in this freaking struggle bus together. You're not ridiculous. You just live inside a heavily capitalized system that wants to make you think this is normal. Is it just me, or have weddings become like a Coachella performance? I'm talking about multiple outfit changes, multi-day photo shoots. Quick disclaimer before I start, I'm not here to shame anyone who wants a big wedding. I'm Indian, so trust me, I get it. A traditional Indian wedding has on average around 400 people and costs on average around 250,000 US dollars. Google it. So I get it. There's a lot of pressure to do it big, whether that's because of your culture or because of companies and marketing pressuring you, or Instagram and social media influencing what you think is normal. Everyone that I know that is wedding planning, it's like they're in a full-fledged business. They're 6 spreadsheets deep, they're negotiating chair rentals, and they're $10,000 over budget because of a flower arch. So let's dive into some numbers. Did you know 67% of newlyweds go into debt for their wedding? And even when people start with really humble intentions of doing a small intimate ceremony, I've seen this somehow end up into them coordinating a fireworks show and 3 outfit changes like it's a Super Bowl performance. And look, I'm all for a big party if you can afford it. But my problem is people are going into debt, draining their bank accounts, starting GoFundMe accounts to pay for 100 or 200 people. Half of them they don't even like or haven't talked to in 2 years. So the big question is why? How does it get here? Because you're not delusional for wanting a $20,000 ring or an international bachelorette trip, but you are under the spell of an entire industry built to make you believe that love is only true if it's expensive and Instagrammable. We're just living in a world where celebrating love is sponsored by Klarna and comes in 24 monthly payments. Returns not accepted, loyalty sold separately. The wildest part to me is we just go along with these wedding traditions without really pausing and asking ourselves, why am I doing this? Is this something I really want to do? Is this something I'm just doing because everyone else is doing? It seems like there's less and less intentionality, and we're just wedding planning on autopilot because this is just what you do. Welcome to my new series, Unveiled. Get it? A series where we are pulling back the curtain on the glittery wedding industry and exposing the wild, expensive, chaotic underneath. So make sure to hit subscribe because this episode and the next one are about to be messy and unhinged. So in today's episode 1, we're going to be focusing on the financial aspect that comes with weddings, answering questions like, why are people maxing out their credit cards, literally selling off their land to pay for a party? How did we get here? I'll also be reacting to some spicy wedding hot takes, like this story where a bride asked each guest to gift her $1,500 or don't come to the wedding. I'll also go over how social media and comparison culture plays a part in all this, all to answer the question, are weddings a scam? Is there a way to get married without selling your kidney on the black market? So buckle up because we're about to crash a wedding budget. So let's start with how the heckums did we get here? Because weddings weren't always this extra. It used to be common to get married in a church or someone's backyard. Your aunt made the wedding cake, your uncle was grilling, your cousin was DJing on his iPod, and now people are taking on second jobs to pay for their flowers. Bachelor and bachelorette parties used to be like a slumber party with pizza. And now you need to take like 3 PTO days and spend $2,000 for a 4-day bender in Tulum. So I want to pull up a BuzzFeed article where they break down what weddings used to cost in 1974, like in our parents' generations versus now. Okay, she goes over invitations first. She says that her parents paid $250 for 300 invitations in 1974. What it actually costs these days is, oh god, $2,200 for invitations. I'm not doing that. I'll handwrite them myself. Okay, flowers. Okay, I already know this is gonna be really expensive, so I'm prepared. It looks like she says all in all $50. That's what I'm talking about. That sounds reasonable for flowers, but I'm scared to look at what it is now. She said she's looking around for florists now, and the first one she clicked on has a minimum order of $8,000. Excuse me. We're moving on to cake. She says, my parents' cake was ridiculous. Wedding cakes were even bigger back in the day. Oh, this is a picture of the cake. Holy sh**. Okay, I'm gonna guess $300, $400 for that cake. That's a nice cake. So the 5-tier cake her parents bought cost $100. What it actually costs now is $1,500. I'd rather stop freaking Mr. Softy and ask him for 50 chocolate swirl cones than pay $1,500. So the total cost for her parents' wedding reception, which includes the venue and the food, costs $1,200. I'm gonna guess that the cost now would be, I don't know, double, $10,000, $12,000. Let's see. Actually, stop! It's $30,000. It's $30,000. I need to exit this before I get pissed off. I get why people are ripping out their hair planning their wedding. I'm ripping out my hair just looking at the numbers. The point of that stressful activity was to prove that it wasn't always like this. But alas, here we are. Roll the tape. Welcome to the $70 billion wedding industry, where it feels like every year weddings are getting bigger and bigger, diamond rings are getting bigger and bigger, to the point where it's very normal these days for people to hire professional drone videographers and sometimes even like fly celebrities in to have a private concert at their wedding. And it often leads to drama and financial stress. Like this story. My friend is angry that I won't buy a $15,000 bridesmaid dress. What the actual f-? Also, extravagant wedding planning often leads to fights between the couple and sometimes even divorce. Half of all couples say their wedding spending caused major relationship stress. I believe that. This one was really surprising. 20% of engagements are called off before the wedding, with the leading cause being over money arguments. That's crazy. So 1 in 5 couples that get engaged don't make it to the altar, with the leading cause being because of money arguments. That's actually really sad. The research findings suggested that couples who prioritize, you know, big, flashy, extravagant weddings, they might be more focused on the performative aspects of a wedding than the actual relationship and long-term compatibility. And by the way, I'm not saying that you can't be genuinely in love and also plan a big wedding. Don't come for me. There's one more video I'm gonna watch with you guys. I'm gonna play it on the screen here.
I wouldn't wish planning a wedding on my worst enemy. Just get married. It ain't even worth it. It's not even worth the hassle.
That makes me sad that people are really stressed out about something that's supposed to be so happy. Okay, let's look at this next one.
I got married 3 months ago, and I genuinely feel like I'm only just now coming out of like the brain fog. Like, there's no way to like get yourself out of like the brainwashing, out of like the trance of how much pressure you feel at your wedding before your wedding. Especially if you're older, like I'm in my 30s, and you've gone to a lot of weddings by the time that you get married, it makes it even harder to do something where you're not constantly comparing yourself to all the weddings that you've been to before.
That part. Let's talk about it. Extravagant, over-the-top weddings have just become the norm. People are going into lifelong debt to meet an imaginary standard. The average American doesn't have $1,000 for an unexpected emergency, like their car breaking down or a medical expense. The math's not mathing. Make it make sense. And even if a huge banger doesn't feel like them, if they're, you know, maybe introverted or more shy or just don't want a big wedding, a lot of people I know feel like they just kind of have to do it because that's what their parents expect, it's what social media expects, and they'll be seen as less than if they don't do that. So if you're planning your wedding, pause and reflect and ask yourself this: would I still want the $10,000 flower arch if no one saw it on Instagram? Picture this: no cameras, no Instagram. What does that wedding picture look like in your head? Would you still want the $1,000 champagne tower? If you still want it, go for it. But I think some people realize that they're actually just doing it for the old IG grid. If that question made you sweat a little bit, welcome to the club. Because behind the flower walls and the champagne towers is the invisible guest list. Everyone watching online, your Instagram followers, your Facebook high school class. So let's talk about social media and the performance pressure. Is it for the love or for the likes? There are brides that are posting pictures of their weddings and being sad because they're not getting enough likes, and they feel like a failure before they even leave the venue. Sometimes I feel like we're one step away from like the officiant saying, "You may now kiss the bride," and then someone going, wait, let's do the first kiss again because you didn't get my good side. The other part of this is comparison culture, because I too would be stressed if all of my friends had, you know, $50,000 weddings with fireworks, drone shows, and then it was my turn and then my picture got like 12 likes. I get it. We've seen so many celebrity weddings that are like $600 million weddings that like fly Justin Bieber out to perform at their wedding. Seeing these types of images online over and over again, it kind of rewires our brain into thinking this kind of extravagance is normal and anything less is subpar. Suddenly a 5-day international bachelorette trip to Cancun is like the casual must-have. My flabber is gasted. And there's so many things like this that we just do without giving a second thought. For example, every bride you know probably is wearing a diamond ring, right? But did you know that in the 1940s, less than 10% of brides were wearing diamond rings? They were wearing a plethora of stones, and diamonds were like an option, but it wasn't necessary. It wasn't even a popular choice. It wasn't until 1947 when the company De Beers, that owns most of the diamonds in the world, started the infamous marketing campaign that diamonds are forever and convinced people that they need to buy this in order to prove their love. That's crazy. The diamond rings weren't even a thing until random corporate dudes in the 1940s decided to convince us that love equals this specific shiny overpriced rock. And the wedding industry is built to capitalize on our emotional vulnerabilities. It thrives on your FOMO. It thrives on your fear of looking cheap. I would love to see people investing the same amount of time that they plan a wedding into premarital counseling or marriage conversations about what their goals are as a couple and what they want their marriage to look like. More time on that than meticulously planning tablecloth colors. Because I have known married couples where their ceremony, gorgeous, perfect. Their relationship, their communication skills, not so much. So where does that leave us? Is the whole wedding thing a scam? Or is it a really beautiful tradition that has kind of snowballed out of control? The answer is yes, it's both. The wedding industry is wild and beautiful and expensive and sometimes manipulative, but maybe the most rebellious thing we can do is remember that the actual point is marriage. A wedding that has mismatched tablecloths and a cake that your aunt made can be just as beautiful as destination weddings in Hawaii on a cliff with like dolphins officiating your ceremony. Just make sure you're doing it for you and not the algorithm. For me, weddings are about just two weirdos in love who pronounce their love to each other and then dance terribly in front of their family and friends. And that, my friends, is priceless. If you like this video, you will make my day if you like and subscribe. It really helps my channel and encourages me to keep making videos. Subscribe for my next video, episode 2, Say Yes to the Stress, where I'll react to some videos about bridesmaids horror stories and guest list drama. And I want your opinion, so comment down below. Do you think weddings are a scam? How much would you or did you spend on your wedding? Send this video to someone in your life who's planning a wedding or like surviving planning a wedding. And I will see you guys in the next video, episode 2. Bye, buds.